Win big with new DRF All Access past performances. With one best-in-class product, you now get all three past performance formats. Go to DRF.com and use coupon code 1FREEPP for a free single card today.
Dan Illman, Ashley Mailloux, kicking off the dollar pick six at Santa Anita on Saturday with 3-year-old fillies going 2 turns in the Grade 3 Las Virgenes. Let's take a look at this field. Now, again, only a field of 5, but 2 potential superstars in this race. From what we've seen thus far from the 3 Kinza and the 4 Copan, and granted, Ashley, it's only been 3 lifetime starts, but they're wow horses.
They certainly are. And you know what I'll say? I'll also say She's a Tempest really improved last time out, stretching out to a mile. I thought that was an improved performance from her. But the big 2 you mentioned are Kinza and Copan. And both, we'll talk about it a little bit later when we show replays, made things look super easy in their most recent outings when they were able to win. But you start to look at some others in here. I mean, you still have a Grade 2 winner on the inside with Nothing Like You. And, it's a compact field, but at least there's quality.
Absolutely. Don't want to give short shrift to Nothing Like You, the most prolific winner in the field with 3 wins. And as you mentioned, Grade 2 winner of the Starlet at Los Alamitos. Pace could make the race. It's such a short field. Going 2 turns for the first time. Kinza showed sprint speed in her debut. I would expect that Baffert's going to be aggressive with her going to the front again.
I think so. And I don't even think on the stretch out to a mile it should make a difference for her. She won pretty easily last time out with a big figure. And Nothing Like You should be forward. She really has been in most of her efforts, except for 1 or 2 where I don't think the starts were perfect for her. So in terms of the pace, we'll see how quick it could get. Obviously, with horses like Copan in here as well, I would wonder if, I don't know if she'll be last early on. I would think she'd be pressing the pace a little bit more. So we'll see.
I was just going to say, I'm not sure I agree with Copian's placement on the pace projector because thus far from 2 starts, he seems pace adaptable. She came from off of it in her debut. They handed her the lead last time and she took it. I think she'll be closer to the pace. Let's start things off with Nothing Like You riding a 3-race win streak for Baffert. Hey, she'll be the other Bob Baffert on Saturday. We know that's a great angle in Southern California. And Nothing Like You went right to the front in this race. She's now 2 for 2 around 2 turns, and she just draws away from this field in the stretch.
Maybe not an excellent sign that Hernandez is going to hop off of her here, but hey, you're getting Frankie Dettori this Saturday, and looking at this sort of performance from her and Juan Hernandez, this was effortless. She kind of crushed her competition here. She had 5 other rivals, which did include another rival she's going to face again, Great 48, who draws the inside in this field, but it was a strung out field. It didn't seem like the low sal stretch, which can be sort of a hindrance to some runners, affected her at all. In fact, she just opened up on them.
She's a Tempest was no match for Copan 2 starts back, but it was a good enough effort that set her up well for her initial 2-turn try. This maiden special weight last month, and I really like this performance, Ashley, because she's involved in a battle for the last 2.5 furlongs or so, and she just refuses to lose, and I think she's winning rather comfortably.
And both of these horses are super game, and actually her rival, who she beats, comes back to win it next time out, but I agree with you. I like that she didn't have it kind of all to herself on the lead. She's got company and competition pressing her. She was game every single stride on the inside. So to me, I like to see that from a horse. And for her, she was just stretching out for the first time. She went from 6.5 to a mile. She got that test and thought she handled it wonderfully.
She earned a very respectable 90 Beyer speed figure, and she might fall through the cracks from a wagering standpoint with some of the other big names in here, maybe none bigger than the number 3 Kinza. So impressive in her debut for Bob Baffert, going 3/4 of a mile, just sat off the early lead, took to the front at will, and just goes on about her business to win by multiple lengths, a 96 Beyer speed figure. How is she 5 to 1?
Yeah, no idea. I mean, if you were backing her on that day, you're pretty happy because you're not going to get that on Saturday, but she draws clear here. And I think the big thing too, you don't know what she faced, but at least compared to others, she had a fair bit of rivalry in there in terms of the numbers. I mean, she had 10 other horses in that spot. She draws clear. She has the best Beyer figure in this race, if that's what you go by, a 96. And yes, she is going to stretch out in distance and, maybe get some pressure early on, but to me, there's a lot of things that point to her. And as I mentioned, Juan Hernandez looks like he might have had his pick, and this is who he chose.
From a pedigree standpoint, I don't see why she can't get the 2-turn mile. I think it'll be well within her scope, and she figures to be the speed, if not the outright speed of the speed. Copan, though, has looked good as well in her first 2 starts. Her debut, she broke sharp. She could have made the lead, I thought, if she wanted to. She ended up tracking outside, and once she got to the front, it was all over. And then in this race, the Santa Anita, Her only other pace competition stumbled at the start, so Pratt decided, let's just make the front. She was a little green when she saw the gap in the first furlong, but she's just winning this race. It's like breaking sticks.
I thought this is a good performance. Obviously, again, we're getting with a little bit of a short field, but she kind of draws clear here under wraps a bit. And I think the big thing that you mentioned that probably works in her favor is she is pace adaptable, where I start to look at others in the field and you don't really know yet. With Kinza, you don't know what's going to happen. It's just her second start. And you look at others and you go, they like to be forward, where I do think if the pace were to be ridiculous, I think, Flavian's going to have some options and Copan can sit off of it and make a late run. So to me, in that sense, she probably has the most intrigue.
And completing the field is the 5 Great 48, who has a lot of stamina, obviously, and comes into this race with great foundation after 4 two-turn route races. She looked good winning 2 starts back. No match for Nothing Like You last time out in the Starlet, but it was a slight step forward. She does need to improve again, though, because she just happens to catch a quality field.
Yeah, this is a tough field. I know she's got a little bit more foundation than a couple other runners in here, but she raced well last time out. But again, she did get disqualified. She shifted out and got placed 4th in that race. But she does get a new rider. Kazushi Kimura has been riding well as of recent out at Santa Anita. So it'll be interesting to see how she performs. And she's going to cut back a little bit. I don't think that'll hurt her at all. We talked about that, a mile and 16th to a mile. It's not a huge difference, but it could help her chances. But the waters are deep.
And I think Kazuchi, as usual, will do the right thing. I think he's just going to break, and maybe there'll be a little bit of a barbecue up front with a couple of these speeds. I think he'll try to save some ground and come with a late kick. Let's take a look at our top picks. Some promising 3-year-old fillies on display. We'll go with the Super Ks. Kinza for you, Copan for me.
I was tough. I like both of these fillies and what they've shown so far. And to me, I just thought Kinza was so impressive on debut that I'm going to back her here. Where I did mention, though, I think the thing that scares me about Copan is that adaptability and that versatility that she's shown in 2 starts. That might, play in her favor on Saturday.
You're going 3-4-1. I'm going 4-3-2. Copan, I like, again, 2 starts to 1 and the slight incremental stretch out in distances from a master trainer in Richard Mandela, but it should be a fun race. The Grade 3 Las Virgenes, the second of 3 graded stakes races at the Great Race Place on Saturday. Good luck.